What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another YouTube video. Today, we're going to be doing something a little bit different than I normally do. It's actually going to be my first time making a little map guide. Now, it's not going to be the most in-depth thing in the world. I do think that's going to be good, but, this is a resource that you can send, whether you're watching it yourself or you can send it to a friend. You can link it in team chat when somebody's throwing your rank game. Whatever the case is, Pearl is out now. People don't know how to play it. I'm going to take it upon myself to educate people who want to know or need to know, right? So, first things first, Pearl kind of reminds me of a little bit of Split if you haven't played it or you haven't played it a lot. I understand that you may think that it doesn't remind you of Split, but the reason that I think it is similar to Split is because it has 3 main lanes. So, you have your B long, you have your middle, and you have your close condensed choke point in A main, right? So, with that, you can't just 5 rush something every single time and get away with it because people are going to be able to rotate. They're going to be able to walk out mid, fast flank you. Again, similar to Split. If I were to give this map like a rating, I'd give it like a 4.5, maybe like a 5, depending on how I'm feeling. The meta agents are kind of the same as it has been. I think that it's cool that Astra's kind of like getting picked a little more on this map rather than just Omen. But usually Chamber's your Sentinel pick. The Duelist is like a little flexible. It's usually like Neon Raze Jet, kind of like what it has been. I think Yoru is actually viable on this map as well, but we're not going to go over that today. When it comes to Initiator, Fade is really good for flashes, Breacher KO. So, if one of those agents is in your agent pool, that's good. That's what you should be picking on this map. We're going to go over comps and stuff like that. We're going to go over what role you should be playing, how you should be playing it, and, what you need to do on the map, basically. So, what I want to get into here, I'm just going to drop down right here. We're going to go onto a website called Valorant, okay? So this is a website. It's free to go on. You can go on here and you can mess around. You can see all the abilities, everything crazy like that. We're going to go over 3 comps, short and simple, okay? Our first comp here for Pearl, this is our bind type comp, okay, where you're running double controller, okay? The benefits of this comp, it's really good to work the map slowly, and you have a lot of util, which is usually a very good thing when it comes to a ranked scenario. So you have a Viper and an Astra, you have a Raze and a Fade, and then you have a Chamber, usually buying an Op. So with this comp, since you aren't solo smokes, Astra can focus a lot on utility stars. So utility stars are the pulls and the stuns, rather than just smoking. Basic setup for this map on defense, and it would be very similar to offense, would be your Chamber is out long B, posted on this angle with his Op. You can drop a star here for him, so he doesn't get rushed. He can get one, he can TP out, you can play the 5v4. If they want to try to come mid-door, your Viper's here with an orb. He can molly off the trip. He can call for a star off the trip. Fade can throw a tether over this and land here for the trip, right? Fade, usually starting in mid, you're usually getting immediate info with your Haunt or your Eye. Another benefit to this comp, again, with the utility stars is that Astra and Raze can take fast A main control. You can do a deep smoke here rather than just sitting in sight like this and doing nothing. You can get proactive with your Duelist every other round, and you can push into main, and you can run a little trap setup here, where you guys are something like this. If they flash through, you can pull, he peeks, maybe he has first contact, maybe you have first contact, whatever. That's kind of like a bind-style comp. This is more of a icebox-style comp. This is something that you'll probably see more often in ranked, where you have 2 Duelists and 1 Initiator with a Chamber. Similar to the last comp when it comes to B long. Chamber's posted on it with his angle, or with his Op, or his deagle, or a rifle, whatever the case is. This is a good spot to play forward. It's also a good spot that if you run this and you get a kill and you TP away and they run into B, it's also a good spot to slot someone in next round. So you run in, you break the drone, or you break whatever, you get the first contact, you TP out. Now they're less likely to clear this, right? But for this example, again, we're just going for that. Phoenix, more flexible. You can run B, you can run A, you can really go anywhere. Just try to have it to where your molly and your flash are getting a lot of value. So Phoenix can molly off this trip, or he can flash off this trip. Fade will usually be pocketing Jet in this scenario, where he's dogging for him, he's darting for him. He's playing to, help him set up and take a fight, and then he's looking to trade. And then Viper, normal controller duty. You're kind of just like jump spotting this, playing your orb. If they run in, you can throw a molly on the ground and, peek this side where they flood out, whatever the case is, right? And then the last style of comp that you'll see on this map is like more of a Haven style, where it's that double Initiator and it's very fast-paced. So, again, 3 times in a row now. Our Chamber is where? Long B posted on this angle, right? Deagle, Op, Rifle, whatever the case is. There's usually a trip mid-door with someone playing off of it. Fade's pocketing a duelist, right? Are we starting to pick up on, what you should be doing, why you should be doing it? Controller sitting on A. If they decide to rush you, you have a paranoia. You throw it and you reposition or you peek, right? So again, not very difficult, but people are having a very hard time understanding this and, realizing that you can just apply the same fundamentals that you do to every other map onto this map, okay? So the next thing I want to go into is each role specifically. And again, these are going to be very vague. It's not going to be anything super specific. I don't have any text on the screen. Sorry about that. Starting off with Duelist. Duelist, your job, as you know, is to take or create space. So that may be you peeking something. That may be you using utility to get there, right? That may be you posting on an angle with an op and telling people to rotate because you have this side of the map or you have this site. Your job when it comes to that is to ask your initiator or your controller to set you up to do it. Hey, I need a smoke here. Hey, I need a dart here. Hey, I need a dog here. Hey, I need a flash here. That is your main goal, the bare bone basics of just what you need to do. That's all it is. Please don't do this. Just walk up A main by yourself and die. Or walk out mid into 2 separate angles and die. All you got to do is hold your mic button down for a couple seconds. Ask for something so you don't just walk out dry and live for more than 10 seconds, okay? You'll win games. Next role, Initiator. Again, you're kind of like piggybacking off of that idea where you're going to set somebody up. That should be your goal. If it's complete silent, if it's completely quiet in the pre-round, you should be the voice. Hey, I'm going to do this round because they do that. I'm going to dart this instead. I'm going to clear that instead. I'm not going to use my info this round, right? You want to make sure that your utility is getting value. Okay, it's a big part about playing Initiator. And again, you want to try to be setting someone up. And if you're not setting someone up, you can run a trap play. Breach necessarily doesn't need to 100% set up Neon in this scenario, right? He's kind of playing for his own situation where he can stun off this trip, right? And if it gets value, you don't need to do the same exact thing every time. Maybe he can play here next round, and he can stun off the trip like that. If I can move this stun, perfect, right? So again, you want to just switch up what you're doing and not do the same thing over and over and over again because people are going to pick up on that and they're going to try to punish it. Controller, very basic. You're kind of on this role where it's very similar every single map. You usually give someone a smoke or give yourself a smoke, and you kind of hold that side of the site. That's kind of your role, right? So a problem that I see a lot are controllers starting here when the barriers drop. You don't want to start here when the barriers drop. Why? Because someone can just shift walk up all the way A main, sit in the smoke, and pop out on you with every piece of util. The correct thing to do at the start of the round is ask for an eye or something like that, right? Where they get your info. Maybe this gets broken. So what you do is you maybe fake a TP. You make a little TP noise, right? You just TP back to site. They have to respect that you TP'd here, right? They have to respect that there could be multiple people here. It might not just be the Omen because there's a dart here, right? So that's going to cause them to use a dog or a drone or a flash or a molly. So now you're getting value out of your TP because they're trading utility for it. And then you can back up into site and play the one way. Now let's say there isn't a dart here. Let's say there is no noise. Maybe at the start of the round, you can walk up a little bit. Jiggle. Maybe not go too far. Maybe listen for sound. Whatever the case is, right? And let's say your chamber is getting rushed by 4 people. And he says, yo, there's 4 people rushing me. It's probably B. What you can do is you can react to that information given. And you can look for that solo guy. Okay, there's 4 guys there. We're missing somebody, right? And you can slowly work the flank, whatever the case is. You can smoke the trip off. You can continue to flank, right? So again, you don't just want to be sitting back waiting for something to happen, okay? It doesn't always have to be you sitting back doing nothing. You can still accomplish something being on that anchor role. And again, our last role, Sentinel. People are going to play Cypher. People are going to play Sage. People are going to play, Killjoy as well. They're not really bad picks on this map, I don't think. I just think Chamber's better because the op does, puts in work, right? So with that, Chamber players, you're mainly going to be on B. Sentinel players, you're mainly going to be on B. Cypher has a couple cool kill trip spots with one-way cages, good cameras. Killjoy, not the best in the site. Killjoy's a lot better on A. And if that is the case, what you can do is if you have your Killjoy player playing A with, a turret here or something like that, we can do for a more aggressive setup where maybe, I do something like this where we have a pull and a star. And instead of A main control, we're doing the long B control, right? So something like this where, if they decide to rush, they get sucknated. If they don't, they have to sit behind this. They have to drone, they have to flash, they have to re-clear B long, right? It doesn't always have to be chamber B long every single round, right? Now, I want to go into the server itself here, and we're just going to talk about kind of each segment of the map and you know, how you should be working it, what you should be doing, etc. So with A main, big thing about A main is people getting to this wooden box, okay? If you want to try to beat them there, you have to run. And if you're running, that means you're giving them info. They know that you're coming. So more often than not, there's going to be a dart through this window or a flash or a dart over this wall that lands here. You want to get ready to break that. Have an initiator come. They can clear out this corner with a drone. More often than not, it will be fade. So he can just clear that out with a drone. And if there's nothing here, you can get ready to hit the site. When you're going into a site, usually a space creator is very good to go in first. A Raze, a Jet, a Neon, where you can get to this default position. You can clear this close right. This position here called art, you usually want a smoke and a piece of util going there. So maybe a molly, maybe a nade, maybe a tether, whatever the case is, right? You just want to stick that in art so they can't flood out. Because again, what people will try to do is they'll try to sneak through here, right? The mid-rotators will come from here and here, and they'll try to run into art, and they'll try to come through the smoke and kill the people who aren't paying attention. Then again, on the A defense, same exact thing what we talked about with controllers. I think it's good to inch up initially, right? You don't want to go out and just wide swing this angle every single round, but I think it's good to go up initially. You make a little noise. Maybe if there really isn't any noise, you can jump spot like this and get the info, right? But you don't just want to be sitting back in sight doing nothing every round, right? Middle. And again, this is very vague, guys. I'm not trying to go into detail about every single agent in every single spot. That's for you to do. I want to update you guys on what the meta is, what good picks are, and what you should generally be doing depending on where you're playing on the map, right? So mid, starting on attack, the window position is very good. I like the window position. You can immediately kind of swing out the door and prevent somebody from getting out here. The main thing you need to worry about is art now, which is countered by, the attacker mid, right? So if I'm walking out like this, all I need to do is jiggle that. And once I kind of get across, this angle right here, I can start taking art. So more often than not, it's better to throw like a little one-way smoke here or throw a flash, and then you can cross and you can get up on this, and then you can start working art, right? If you're with an initiator and they're clearing out, we can clear out this box. We start working more. There's probably going to be someone playing like in the art area that's going to be contesting you. But when it comes to mid, again, use your utility to clear the angles. You don't need to dry swing the doors. You don't need to dry swing art. You don't need to dry swing the window. Now, on defense, more often than not, there's going to be a tripwire right here, okay? The tripwire will get the first contact on doors. And again, this goes for attack and defense. Usually there is someone playing in this position, whether it's you or whether it's the opponent, and they're peeking off this contact of the trip, right? Trip pings, peek kill, right? So when you do this, you want to be careful about that trip. You want to try to jiggle it and find its position and then spray it through a wall. Something good you can do. Or you can have someone like Chamber lead, right? He comes in, he soaks the trip, someone uses util, I can TP away because this game is, fair, right? So again, this is kind of like a dead zone where you don't want to get caught in because you might get caught out and killed, right? Art, very similar situation, but it is much better to, in my opinion, like go fast through this just because you can like really like beat and stall the rotates. So if you have a smoke here and a second smoke here, it's like very, very, very good to like flood out of art fast, especially if no one is playing here initially. Because if no one is playing here initially, that usually means that someone's in the door area. And if they're at the door area, kind of takes a while to rotate, and the rotate isn't very viable. So if I'm here and I'm playing off this trip and my teammate calls, okay, they're rushing art this round, I need help. Like your only true reaction is to go over here. So again, if you smoke this off and you throw a piece of util, they can't come through there. Because if I don't go through there, I have to do this. I'm smoked off. Fuck. And again, since you're not going to have a smoke here, what you should be doing is taking control of this, right? Throw a nade back here, a tether, a flash, whatever it is, and you peek into this. You make sure this backside area is clear, and then you can kind of extend into this secret area, this pit area. So again, that's what you can do with mid. It's really, really, really important to take mid because you control the rotates and you can control how fast you go and where you want to go. 5 rushing on this map, not good. All right, last thing we're going to go over real quick. Be long. I know I'm kind of taking my time about this. Be long, the main thing that you want to do is use a piece of utility here. A jet smoke, a pullback star, a flash, whatever the case is. Because if you remember our examples on Valorant, who's going to be sitting here with an op every single round? Shoot, TP, I'm gone, right? So again, you got to make sure you're clearing the angles before you go into it. And it's not only that angle too, okay? They're going to be playing on top of this screen. They're going to be playing behind it. They're going to be playing back hall. They're going to be in this cubby. So when you're going to be long, again, you got to take your time with it. You got to make sure you're clearing angles one by one. Because if you go into them all at once, more often than not, you are going to die. So when you're coming up, jet smoke here. Fade can dog. He can take it around the pillar. The pillar's clear. He can throw a dart that lands on top of here or behind here or up here, and it clears out that area, and then you can scale into sight. When it comes to B, usually you want to use one smoke right here, and if you smoke like right there, it will get the heaven area and we'll get some of the spawn area, and then this is going to be your main rotator spot, the link or the connector, and people are going to flood out there and they're going to try to, you know, help the player who is back hall or who is back site, whatever the case is. So when you're coming in, you know, you got to make sure that you're clearing this position, even though, you know, if someone is backside or not, you got to be ready to clear that position. So when it comes down to that, you know, to take that away, you could throw a piece of utility here or throw a piece of utility there, like a nade or a tether or a flash, whatever the case is. And your opper or maybe your sentinel can be posted on this angle, and they can hold that for you while you swing, right? They can hold that for you while you swing. So you're looking behind this pillar, you're looking at the con guy, and then when the time comes to plant, you want to base it on the situation. Are there like 3 or 4 people here that are getting ready to flood? Maybe we plant like this round on this corner. Are there only 2 people here and they're playing for retake? All right, I'm going to plant like this, and I'm going to stick the bomb right there, and now we can play the bomb from B long, right? So very important. Defending, similar situation, you know. More often than not, you're going to be a sentinel or a duelist doing this, so your goal is to kind of get one, get out, and then once you want to get out, a problem that I see a lot nowadays is people getting overzealous, right? Just because you got one doesn't mean you need to take another fight, right? Someone is going to be posted on this no matter what. Any single time in a retake, someone is going to be posted on this. Don't just re-swing this when you're 5v4 and, you know, hope you get away, right? Your goal should be looking to kill someone who is equalizing, okay? And what equalizing is when you are down, and when you're at a disadvantage, you have to look to get the advantage back, or at least equalize, make it even, right? So, you know, again, if I kill somebody and my TP was set up here, I'll probably just sit in the smoke. And I'll just wait. I'll wait for my team to rotate. I'll wait for the drones to come out, and the flashes, and the initiation. And after all the angles are clear, then I'll start walking in and looking for the gunfights, right? I see that the bomb is planted here. Hey, guys, they're probably doing a post plant. Can we smoke the bomb? Yeah, sure, got it. Put my second set of TPs down because this game is fair. Swing, kill, TP, right? So, again, you want to take your time when it comes to these retakes, mainly on B, because that's where, like, the serious post plants are going to be. Like, off-site post plants is what I'm referring to. More often than not in A, you're going to have setups like this where, you know, there's like 2-3 people in sight at least. But when it comes to B, you can just plant the bomb here and run away, right? So when you're a defender, you got to be able to pick up on that and pay attention to it. I know this was brief. I know it was fast. I know there wasn't text on the screen. I wanted to make a short, simple video about this. Again, just because I've been running into a lot of people who have trouble on this map. I've also got some questions about it too. So if you guys have any feedback, anything else that you want to see, anything else that you want to know, please let me know in the comments. I appreciate you tuning in. When it comes to new maps or things like that, maybe even old maps, I'll start doing guides like this if, you know, the feedback is good or you guys care about seeing it. You know, they're fun to make, and I'll obviously, you know, try to make it better rather than so simple and, you know, fast-paced like this one. But I appreciate you tuning in. Tdawgg out of here. Deuces.